If you've heard of artist residencies before, you probably feel the mystique of them. I know I do. You get to go somewhere new, sometimes you get paid to work on your art project, you're surrounded by other creatives in all kinds of fields, you have access to specialty equipment, you're outside of your normal day-to-day so you can refresh your creative juices. Yeah, it sounds great, but it's completely inaccessible for many of us. But it's 2023, and the era of gatekeeping is over. Even if we can't join an artist residency currently, that will not stop us from having our own little party. In order to DIY our own artist residency, we need a few things: a project, a deadline, and a workspace. First off, let's think about the project. When you apply for a real residency, you have to submit a proposal explaining what you intend to work on. So let's come up with a project. This doesn't have to be super precise, like I want to paint a 4x6 landscape with oil. No, your residency can be all about discovery and experimentation, whether that's with a new medium or a new idea that you want to develop. For instance, you could write something like, I want to experiment with audio textures to see how they interact with my existing works. Something like that. Personally, I want to create a series of stained glass patterns inspired by medieval church motifs called misericords. I know this is hugely specific, but I actually think the more specific you can be, the better, because fitting this residency in your everyday life will already be challenging. So you want to be laser focused. Misericord inspired patterns. Next, let's talk about the deadline. Now, this one's not too hard, I think. You can decide on a weekend, a month, maybe 2 if that feels too short. Some residencies can be as long as 6 months to a year, but since we're doing this by ourselves, I think it's easier to stick to a shorter time period. That way we don't get too distracted and we get straight to the point. For me, I'll pick the end of August. I'll have the residency over the coming month. Deadline is end of August. Now let's talk about the workspace. This is the hardest element to DIY without the resources of a dedicated space that's literally built around professional artists. The number one thing for a productive residency is easy access to your materials. So the biggest thing that I don't want you to do is to pack everything up ever. Until the end of your residency, your stuff needs to be out. That means you need a dedicated area in your home, in your room, and make that your art studio. If that's too much to ask for, maybe you can put all of your supplies on a small tray or something. That way you can pick it up and put it away in just a few seconds. If you have absolutely zero physical space that you can only use for your art, then I would say this: change up your digital spaces to reflect the fact that you're in residence. Make your technology a reminder and a source of motivation for your work. One way to do that is by choosing a phone background that is inspiring for the theme of your residence, for instance. Cool. Now we have all the necessary elements for a residency. But how do you actually do it? First off, you'll need to tell everyone that you live with to kindly back off during your creative time. Then you may want to gather a few bits and pieces that can inspire your own artistic research. So to get back to my examples, I found that the Lincoln Cathedral has an amazing website with close-ups of their own misericords, which will make my work so much easier. At this point, the best thing you can do is just to get started, genuinely. One great thing about artist residencies is that they're not necessarily focused on a particular outcome. The whole point is to explore, to try new things. I find it really hard to do that, to let go of expectations and to not think of a final product, but it will be beneficial to try that, especially if you've already settled on a theme to explore. I really hope that these steps are helpful in creating an immersive artistic experience right where you are. There are many more artists than there are residencies, but we can all benefit from shorter term, focused exploration with or without the external validation. Let me know if you have any further questions about making this work for yourself, and I will update you at the end of the month on the results of my residency, and I hope you do the same because I'm dying to know what kind of thing you're working on. A full-on residency might not be it for you right now, in which case you may want to take a wider, more wholesome approach to your creative practice, and in that case, you should watch this video where I share ideas on how to improve your artwork, but also how to fill your cup with no pressure.